Okay, so this is a redo. My first video on this wasn't really all that great, and I kind of, I didn't like it. So I'm going to show you how to tool a Sheridan style flower. Sheridan is different from Western. It is. It's a whole different thing. Sheridan usually has a lot more detail and a lot finer detail than Western does. Western is usually, big acanthus leaves, stuff like that. So we're going to be tooling this one. I already did this one so that you can compare and see what we're going for. This was a quickie, it was like 5 minutes. So first, I'm going to wet the leather a little bit more because it's getting kind of dry. When you're working on big pieces or wallets and stuff, wet all the leather at once. Otherwise, when you dye, you'll get a lot of blotches. So let's go ahead and do our swivel knife cuts. And swivel knife cuts are where it all starts and ends. Swivel knife needs to be stropped, it needs to be sharp. If it's not sharp and not stropped, then you're going to have a bad time. You'll notice that your knife seems to be dragging in the leather instead of just gliding right through it. If it's dragging, you need to strop it. This flower pattern is just a Tandy craft tool. It's a Craft Aid pattern, so you can get it there. Get it on their website. If you don't have one closer, someone said they were 300 miles from a Tandy's, and I was like, ouch. You don't have any other suppliers close to you? If you're watching, please answer, I'm curious. So we're just going to come through, make our cuts. This is a Clay Miller swivel knife with a 1/4 inch narrow hollow ground blade, and it's my go-to. I've got 5 or 6 of them, but this is the one I like. Big old sausage fingers, can't get a grip on them little ones. So we've got our swivel knife cuts done. Next, you're going to go through and take your center shader. This is a Craft Tool Pro. It's a J2371. Big seed in the middle, surrounded by a ring of little seeds. Notice how I'm going like this as I'm going around it. The reason being is it gives you a much cleaner impression than if you just sit here and hit it straight down. Now our cam tool, this is a Craft Tool Pro C2131. Everyone seemed to appreciate that I was actually listing the tools, so I'm going to go ahead and keep doing that. And these are big flowers, this is 2.5 inches across, so your cam tool's not going to go all the way out. I don't usually do flowers this big. I just decided to do a big flower so everyone could see what was going on. And you're just going to take them and work from the center out. On these curved petals, try to curve it a little bit. It makes it flow better. You'll also notice that I'm setting them basically right on top of each other. I'm not actually overlapping, but I'm getting pretty close, and it's more definition, it's more texture in that flower. And on the edges you'll also see right here I'm not hitting it, I'm not going like this. I'm tilting it and getting that edge in there and not stepping over into the next pedal. If you step over into the next pedal, it looks funny. This way, each pedal is its own being, you know, it's its own little part, and it's not getting contaminated with everything else. So we've got our cam shading done. Then you're going to go through and center shade, and when you're center shading, you're actually making that center pop out. That's the whole point of it. You want to make it look like that center is actually standing out away from the leather, like right here versus right here. That's what you're going for. This is a Craft Tool Pro again, B2071. And the center shader is basically a really long beveler. I like to walk it around the edge. There you go. Now, you've done your center shader, so take your actual cedar and just give it a few little taps, and that cleans any kind of little tick marks you get on there up. It gets rid of them and it makes them look better. So this is your Thumbprint. A Thumbprint is a pear shader that's been stretched way out so guys like me don't have to walk them all the way down. We just hit it a few times and it's done. This is Craft Tool Pro P2611. When you do this, I'll do it to where you can see right here. You see how it's set a little bit away from that edge? You don't want to sit up on that edge. You want to come back a little bit and then point the narrow end straight at the center. Just like that. And this flower is big enough that I do need to walk this tool. But that's fine. On this flower, down here in this corner, you don't want to stick the big side in there. It looks kind of funky. So flip it over, use your narrow side, and just do that, and it gives it a little bit more depth. Typically the thumbprints that I use are actually like a quarter of this size, because I like to do little tiny stuff, not as tiny as like Britt and Ant's. God dude, how do you do that? But I like to stay a little bit small. So now, and in this video, other than the swivel knife and the maul, you can get everything at Tandy. This is a Craft Tool Pro B2061. It's a pedal lifter. And it basically just goes in right here, and it gives you a little bit of lift in between your thumbprints. It gives it even more texture and scale. You know, picks it up, makes it look like that thumbprint's sitting a lot deeper in than it really is. And if you'll notice, as I pull it out, I twist it, and it picks that up. Alrighty, so now we're going to go to our big beveler, and this is a B2044. It's a Craft Tool Pro. And you're going to start, work towards the center a little bit, and then come out. So start up here where you can actually see your line, work towards the center, come out. Alright, so our big beveler's done. Don't need it anymore. We're going to go, and this is what we're using as a small beveler. This is actually a step up from their smallest. This is a B2043. It's Craft Tool Pro again. We're just going to work around all these little lobes. Remember, a beveler is a walking tool. It is not a sit and hit tool. Alright, all our lobes are done. We are almost done. I lied to you. I am using one tool that is not a Tandy tool because I haven't found stops at Tandy's that I like. This is a Barry King stop. And you see, it just stops that line. It makes that line really hard right near the center. Instead of tapering off to nothing, it stops. That's why it's called a stop. Alright, so our tooling's done on our flower. I'm going to do the decorative cuts on it. Everyone's different on decorative cuts, and they take a long time to start understanding them. Everyone has their, each person has their own style, and decorative cuts are kind of like your signature. The only thing really that you need to know about decorative cuts is that they, you start bold and you let off the pressure as you're moving down the pedal. And like right there, I got in too much of a hurry and I screwed it up. No big deal. And they all need to start wherever you start, it needs to come towards the center. Some people do curves like that. I don't usually do that. I like slight curves, straight lines. Well, that's how you tool the flower. You know, and they look close enough. Thanks. Please remember to subscribe. It helps a little bit. Have a nice night.